Have you ever wondered how a city transforms from a location to something more? How does it convert into a concept, a symbol of perseverance, and a crossroads of creativity and ambition? Over its extraordinary history, Chicago, the crossroads of America, has provided answers to these issues. This is the tale of human tenacity and inventiveness, not merely the tale of a city. We must begin with Chicago's origins as a little colony in the late 1700s in order to comprehend its legacy. Imagine a limitless grassland that stretches in every direction, only interrupted by the Chicago River's waters. The first permanent community was established here in 1779 by Jean-Baptiste Point du Sablé, a Haitian fur trader, and his Potawatomi wife. A trade station and a few buildings was all that existed, but it set the stage for something remarkable. The strategic significance of this area was acknowledged by the U.S. administration by the early 1800s. Chicago was bound to become a commercial hub because of its location at the meeting point of the Mississippi River and the Great Lakes. However, it was just a town at the time, surrounded by forest and marshy areas. The inception of an industrial superpower. When the first locomotive arrived in Chicago in 1848, everything changed. Imagine the energy of progress igniting, the hiss of steam, and the thunderous sound of iron wheels grinding against steel rails. Opportunity arrived with the city's newfound connectivity to the rest of the nation. Chicago became a center thanks to the railroads, where raw goods like grain, cattle, and timber came together to be processed and sent to expanding towns in the east and west. The city was developing industries in addition to transporting products. Chicago developed into a productive metropolis, from the tall grain elevators that held wheat to the Union stockyards, which transformed meatpacking when they opened in 1865. Imagine a daily influx of tens of thousands of cattle and pigs that are handled with unprecedented efficiency. The stockyards were operational by Christmas Day, 1865, supplying the Union Army with fuel throughout the Civil War and feeding a country that was expanding. A city at risk, but there was a cost to Chicago's quick expansion. The city had grown to overflowing by the 1860s. Narrow streets were dotted with wooden structures that had been hurriedly built to accommodate its growing population. The river became an odorous cesspool as waste from houses and companies spilled into it. A startling number of people died as cholera and other illnesses ravaged the city. A visionary engineer with a daring concept, Ellis Chesbrough, enters the picture. He made the unimaginable suggestion to raise the whole city in order to address the sanitary problem. In order to create a sewage system that would drain waste away from the city, workmen used hundreds of jacks to elevate buildings, sometimes while people were still inside. It was an engineering achievement that solidified Chicago's standing as an innovative city. However, this proved insufficient to address the city's expanding problems. The 1871 Great Fire. Then came October 8th, 1871, a night that would alter Chicago forever. On the west side of the city, a minor fire in a barn swiftly became out of control. Dry weather and wooden structures fueled the fires, which spread quickly. Picture the mayhem. The sound of buildings crashing into ashes, people fleeing their homes, and the sky becoming orange. By the time the fire was extinguished, a large portion of the city was in ruins. More than 17,000 structures had been destroyed, and 100,000 people were homeless. Among the most destructive urban fires in history was this one, reconstructing the future city. This is where the tale of Chicago changes, however. The city recognized an opportunity, a chance to rebuild, stronger and better than before, instead of collapsing under the weight of tragedy. The timber buildings vanished, to be replaced by steel and stone ones. Architecture saw a transformation as a result of the Great Fire. The Home Insurance Building, the world's first steel-framed skyscraper, was constructed in Chicago by 1885. In addition to rebuilding Chicago, this invention permanently altered the way cities were constructed. Chicago's aspirations reached even greater heights as the 19th century drew to a close. The World's Columbian Exposition, a spectacular event that attracted millions of tourists, was held in the city in 1893. The fair was a message more than just a display of inventiveness. Chicago had evolved from an industrial metropolis to a center of culture and thought, poised to guide the country into the future. The immigrant city, waves of European immigrants brought their customs, work, and aspirations to Chicago as the 20th century got underway. Polish, German, and Jewish groups coexisted with Italian and Irish pockets in the city's neighborhoods, creating a cultural mosaic. However, the most influential migration to Chicago came from the South. Millions of African Americans left the Jim Crow South during the Great Migration in quest of better chances. They discovered them in Chicago, where their impact changed the politics, music, and culture of the city. The South Side was alive with jazz and blues as demonstrators battled for equality and civil rights. Contemporary wonders and endless difficulties, Chicago is a city of contrasts these days. It is a center for education, technology, and finance, and is home to prestigious institutions and museums. While the glittering skyscraper symbolizes Chicago's continuous aspirations, the Riverwalk and Millennium Park provide green areas in the center of the city. However, the city still faces difficulties. Chicago's resiliency is put to the test by deteriorating infrastructure, economic inequity, and climate change. However, history demonstrates that this metropolis thrives on difficulties, whether it's fighting its notorious winters or turning the river around. Chicago always manages to adapt and prosper, a city that motivates. Chicago's people's spirit is what really sets it apart, not only its structures or inventions. Chicago's history is one of teamwork and vision, from the fur trader who saw the prairie's promise to the engineers, architects, and common laborers who created a world-class metropolis. Therefore, keep in mind the decades of hardship, success, and invention that made it all possible the next time you stroll through its streets or look up at its skyscrapers. Chicago is more than simply a city. It's a concept, a guarantee that, with perseverance and optimism, no obstacle is too big. Thank you for watching, and until we meet again.